a four-dimensional Harley Davidson motorcycle. I tried to go with like a traditional colors with orange and then some black and some silver on it. The wheels are what spin, that's what turns, that's the 4D element. It's really built up off the nail, it's extremely 4D, and yet it's probably more durable than most of my 4D stuff just because it's a lot of wire and it's really attached. Some things, you know, they're a little more precarious with little bits that stick out. This one just seems like it's a little bit more hardy. So if you are trying to find something really crazy and over the top and cool to wear, this might be just the ticket. I hope you like it, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. Bye!
To begin, we are going to start with an overlay of a cover pink acrylic, just something simple in the background. Depending on how like hardcore and crazy you want to go with this design, there are so many colors that are a little bit less girly and pretty than a cover pink, but to me, it's just one of those colors that is smooth in the background that you don't necessarily see. And if you were to do this as part of a design, I would definitely do some really like detailed Harley logos on the other nails, do some black and orange color blocking maybe, just really have fun with it, add some silver in there. But for the thumb, just go in with a cover pink so that Harley motorcycle is really what stands out. Now in a nail form backing, we're going to begin sculpting pieces. So I'm going to start with the tires. So we're going to do a black circle. Once you place that black circle down, as you saw, I took my dotting tool and carved a little hole in the middle of it. We're going to repeat that for a second tire. There we go. It's not necessarily a perfect process, but it's at least a good start. And if there's any areas that got thinner, just depending on how the acrylic was laying when you went to create that hole in the middle, you can go ahead and thicken those up. But like I said, it's a good start and you have a chance at maybe not needing to add any more. Seems like though with black, it's a pretty low chance. If it was a different color, especially like a white, you can get some really beautiful, perfect circles that way. So then we're going to fill them in with some clear. There might be a little bit of a black residue behind there, but that's fine. It's not a huge deal. Once you have that clear acrylic done, as you saw with the first one, add a hole in the middle of it so that you can insert some wire through it later. So you just want to make sure that there is a completely clear hole through the middle. Once you have that done, now we can go through and start sculpting the fender, the front fender. So we're going to take orange. Obviously, if you don't want to do orange, you can do whatever color you want. I went with orange just because it's like a classic Harley color. So we're going to sculpt just like a nice curved, almost like a rounder version of a boomerang. Sculpt two of those. We're going to do our first rounded boomerang and then we're going to do a second rounded boomerang. I love coming up with these shape references. Sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it's not so bad. We're actually doing the front fender and the back fender. So the front one is a little bit bigger and just a little more wider, taller, longer, etc. The back fender is slightly smaller than that, a little skinnier too. So now that we have those done, we're going to take on a nail form backing, sculpt out a skinny piece. That part is actually right there. I'm showing it to you now. Know that I wasn't at all prepared to actually use it, so I'll use it later. So we got the two pieces of the front fender. We're going to, and I had the front and backs messed up as far as which one was skinnier, which one was fatter a moment ago. Sorry about that. That is just kind of how the cookie crumbled around here. We're going to stick the two pieces of the front fender on either side of a tweezers that's got some poster putty on it so that it holds them apart at exactly the distance I want them to be. Resculpt that skinny piece that you saw me sculpt and I said was useless so that it is plenty flexible. Once it is pick-upable, where it isn't going to stretch, break, tear, or any of those things, but it is going to still bend, you're going to pick it up and lay it across those two pieces of the front fender, press it down, and it's not going to look perfect. It's going to be a little haphazard. Use a manicure scissors to cut off any extra length. Extra length is better than too short. Then you're going to take more of your beautiful burnt orange color and you're going to fill in all of the gaps, all of the weirdness. You're going to smooth it out. You're going to perfect it. This is the moment where your fender is probably going to go from looking like, I don't know, a squashed something to what you want it to be. Once that's done, you're going to stick the front tire over a piece of wire. Make sure it spins. If it doesn't spin, you may have to start over or use any file to make that hole in the middle of it a little bit bigger. Bend the wire into a U shape, slide the fender into the middle of the U, rest it right over the top of the wheel or tire, and then you're going to take and you're going to need to attach the fender to the wires. A lot, I know. It's a process. Once you have it all so that everything is lined up, like I said, attach that fender to the wires. Clear acrylic is what you need. You want to make sure it is really attached. You don't want this to be haphazard because it'll break. Then you're going to take, and I'm using a tweezers again. I love tweezers. And you're going to bend the top parts of those wire out for the handlebars. Cut off the extra wire, which for some reason I didn't videotape. And then you're going to attach a little metal bar with some of that extra wire you just cut off right across the middle. That is what it's going to hold the headlight point when we get to that point, but that's what that bar is going to support. Then for the back tire, we have another U shape. Holding on to that back tire, you're going to bend a longer piece of the wire up at about a 45-degree angle, bend it in, cut it off. Now you're going to attach these two separate segments of the motorcycle to the nail. And I know that this whole part went really fast, and I apologize to anybody who's watching this and got seasick from how speedy all of that just went. If you need to watch it again, or you can even slow down my videos, there's a setting on YouTube where you can change the play speed. Go ahead and do that. The reason these went so fast is because legitimately the steps were fast. They happened quickly. And I have a set speed on my videos that I just automatically edit them in. And so sometimes they go a little quick. And I know every once in a while somebody's like, why do you talk so fast? It's my natural state of being. I've always been a speed talker. Remember at recess when I was in second grade or something, I would have people pay me to say a monologue of just anything I wanted to as fast as I possibly could because nobody could believe how quickly I can speak. So there we are. Okay, so then we're going to sculpt our fuel tank on our nail form backing. And so I don't know anything about motorcycles in case anybody hasn't figured that out by now. I've Googled terms and I looked up the anatomy of a motorcycle before I started this voiceover. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be our fuel tank. And then we have that other long skinny piece that attaches the motorcycle together. So you're going to sculpt both of those on your nail form backing, and then you're going to attach them to the motorcycle. When you were attaching the two wheels in the place on the nail, you really had to eyeball the distance between them. So if you are somebody that, it's harder to, envision these things, one thing you could do is you could sketch your motorcycle on the nail with a pencil and just get a rough idea of where you wanted everything to be, so that when you then went through and you placed all of the different pieces down and you started gluing them in and figuring them out, you could use that little sketch. I wouldn't overdo the sketch, but you could do it as kind of just a rough outline of where you wanted things to be. You'd cover them up with all of these pieces anyway. Nobody would see them, but that might give you a better idea of where to place things if, you can't just visualize where everything should go. Then we're going to take more of our orange and we're going to fill in the fuel tank so it's enough to hold the fuel, and attach it all the way to the back of the nail. That's going to add some significant strength to this little motorcycle. The most delicate portions on the motorcycle, once you're actually completely done, is going to be that front wheel area. Everything else is pretty secured onto the nail, but that front wheel, just as, it's got the hole in the middle, it's just a little bit precarious. It isn't so much that I actually would even worry about this. This is a nail that obviously with the handlebars and everything would catch on things. But of all the 4D designs I've done, this one is probably one of the more stable of them. We're going to sculpt all of the little motorcycle parts that you care to sculpt. Obviously, if you are more knowledgeable in this department, you probably could sculpt things with a little bit better idea of what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, if you're like me and are just sculpting a motorcycle because you think it would look cool on a nail and you just want to have fun with it, you could do completely arbitrary shapes. And you know what? I couldn't tell you the difference, and I would say it looks amazing because, to me, it would. We're going to sculpt the basic shape of the back fender, just like we did on the nail form backing, but this time we're going to do it on the nail. Make sure you don't touch that acrylic to that back wheel or it will not spin. And we do want these to spin. Once you have built it up high enough where you can set that fender that we've sculpted on top of it, you're going to want to pick it up and you're going to set it on top of that wet acrylic. I'm going to do one more layer, again, making sure it does not touch the tire. Grab my little piece, trying to pick it up with more of those tweezers, set it down. You want nice height differences in your motorcycle. You don't want to all just be so flat. You want to have a nice, rose off the nail type of a look, really three-dimensional. Once you have that done, smooth it out so it doesn't look like you attach that piece separately. You want to all look seamless and smooth, so add a little bit more acrylic here and there to everything just to make sure. You want to look at this nail from every possible angle to make sure that there's no weirdness from any different direction. This one is an extremely 3D type of a design, and anytime that's the case, you just want to make sure that if somebody looks at it from the left or the right, from the tip of the nail, from the back of the nail, straight on, that it looks complete and finished. If you are interested in these crazy over-the-top vehicle things, I did a Tesla. This was last year for my husband for Valentine's Day. I made him a extreme 3D 4D Tesla. It was a Model X, the kind that have the falcon wing doors that open up, and I sculpted one on a nail. And if you like vehicle type things, motorcycle people and electric vehicle people aren't necessarily the same crowd, but just in case, if that's something that you think might be interesting to you, I will put a link to that video, that series of videos actually, in the description box below. To be perfectly honest, it is some of my most detailed, extreme work that I personally think I've ever done. It is a pretty cool set. So anywho, it's actually sitting right next to me. We have a whole collection of Tesla things. We've got Hot Wheels and bigger models and the Tesla set that I did. And oh geez, my husband's obsessed. We've got all sorts of Tesla stuff on our desk. So yeah, if that's something that you are obsessed with too, go check that out. Otherwise, we're going to keep working on our motorcycle, keep using things that are the colors, silver, black, orange, or whatever color scheme it is that you're going for. Make sure that you add the seat if you want to. If you want to add like a footrest and different things, go for it. Add as much or as little detail as you want. And if you didn't want to do the spinning tires, you could make it a little simpler by avoiding some of those steps to make sure that those wheels spun. Otherwise, if you want to, it's just fun to have a little element that you can play with like that. At least if you ask me, I love having a little 40 element to add in here and there. I think it keeps life interesting. But keep adding all of those details as you want to. I know the things like the seat, just because they're so black, don't seem like they have much, detail to them just because they blend in together. Once you add top coat and you can do some matte and some shiny, that really brings the different shapes to life. Make sure that you add a little bit of a cushion to the handlebars. And then the last few things you need to add is you can add a little bit of detail to the back of the motorcycle, and you can add a little detail to the headlight. So for the headlight, I'm going to start out with silver. I'm just going to leave it silver because I'm going to detail it with the headlight type colors with acrylic paint later, and just a little final bar across the back end of this cycle. And then we can start and just fill in any other details that we want with acrylic paint. When you're going through and you're doing things with acrylic paint and gel paint, actually these thinner silver details I'm doing are gel paint. Have fun with it. There's a lot of different striping that you see on motorcycles, a lot of different details. There's so many different styles out there. Flames, if you wanted to go crazy, you could add some flames to your motorcycle. If you're trying to replicate, if you ride a motorcycle, then you could add things that represented your bike. You could try to replicate it. That would be fun. Otherwise, I hope you guys like this design. I'm going to be applying some matte gel top coat over the background and then some 3D glaze over parts of this and some gel top coat over parts of it. The 3D glaze leaves a satiny finish so that it isn't quite as shiny. Doing that over, say, the seat gives it more of a leathery appearance. And then the really shiny top coat over the rest of the bike makes it just shine and look so smooth and so clean. I hope you guys love this design, especially if you are a biker. And don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. Bye!